Everyone, it's Ross, and today we're going to be planting potatoes. And you can see down in here, we just got a nice 10-pound bag of potatoes from the Maine potato lady. They're online. You can find them just by Googling that. And this is the variety called German Butterball. This is a variety that's supposed to be extremely tasty. Probably the most tastiest potato variety in existence. More tasty than Yukon Gold. It's what we grew last year. Here's what the potatoes look like. Not the largest potatoes I'm getting here in this bag, but hey, these are big potatoes. And this is way better than something you get at the store or slips. I'd rather really not plant slips. I'd rather plant an entire potato. Why do I want to plant an entire potato? Well, if you look at the potato, there's these eyes. We all know what the eyes are. We see them in the kitchen a lot. That's where they sprout, and that's where they send up new shoots. That's where their leaves come up from. So those new leaves, the more leaves you got, the more photosynthesis, the more energy the plant has. Well, potential for larger and more potatoes. Also, the amount of energy that is in this seed, this is technically a seed. The more energy that's in this, the stronger your plants will be. You know, that's why certain things like alpine strawberries, the seeds are so small that it takes forever for them to grow. You know, this is a huge seed filled with tons of sugar and tons of carbohydrates. You know, this has got a ton of energy, so I'd rather plant this than, let's say, a third of this. You know, it's up to you. You can do this however you guys want to do it. This is just how I'm doing it. We're also doing something a bit weird this year. Two things actually a bit weird. Today is actually today's March 15th. Excuse me, guys. We're not in April yet. Last year I planted my Yukon Gold out April 1st, and I had some comments saying that's too early. This year we're doing it 2 weeks earlier than we did last year. So we're planting them quite early. Now, when do you want to plant potatoes? Well, you want to plant potatoes when the ground can be worked. This stuff shouldn't be solid, shouldn't be frozen. You should be able to dig through this. It's quite cold. I know for a fact that if the temperatures in the soil are too cold, it's too wet, these potatoes can rot. So you don't want to plant them too early for that reason. But we're about 6 weeks away from our last frost. I think that's a really great date, and that's really what's recommended on a lot of online sources. So for me, this isn't really too early. Also, I want to say that we're doing this a bit differently this year. We're doing a different style of planting. And yes, there is an optimal way to do every little thing in the garden. There's an optimal way to do every little thing in the orchard, right? But it's not always the thing you want to do. You don't always want to be doing the most optimal thing. Maybe the most optimal thing is more work than you're willing to put in. For me, I'm willing to put in the most optimal thing for the figs because I love the figs so much. I want to increase the quality of the figs as much as I can. Potatoes, you know, doing something more optimally usually means more potatoes or larger potatoes. To me, that doesn't seem worth it. You know, I'd much rather put my time into figs where I can get a better quality, or even some different fruits, right? You know, if I knew that there was something out there that would increase the flavor of my potatoes, I probably would do it. I would go for it. It's really all up to the person. But for me, it's not really worth going through all this extra effort of hilling, right? The process of hilling is putting dirt up against the stems of the potato plants. It does a couple things. Keeps them from getting green, the potatoes themselves. If the potatoes become green from light, if light is hitting the potatoes, they're going to become poisonous. They're going to get that chemical in there, and just too much of that is not good for your stomach, is really what it comes down to. So what else? Why else do you hill? Okay, well, you hill because you want more production. All along the stem, if you were to get new roots from those stems, right, at every single node, it's on every single tree too. It works the same way with all plants. Is that if I were to bury, let's say, a tomato plant, and I was to bury the stem, along that stem you would get new roots. And also, in the potatoes case, you would get new potatoes. So you're getting more yields that way, for certain, by hilling up the soil, by getting that soil up there, you're getting the roots, more potatoes. Pretty simple, right? Now, for me, I'm not gonna go through that process because I don't wanna have to hill, I don't want to have to bring in extra soil, I don't wanna have to do anything to these potatoes. I wanna plant them and that's it. I wanna be one and done. I come back to this at harvest time and that's it. Now, some of you guys may live in a location where you have to give these plants a little bit more effort. But in my climate, I don't have any disease, I don't have any potato beetles, I don't even have to water these damn things. I plant this seed here and I'm done. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm doing something right, I don't know. But here's the method that I'm going to use this year, okay? And when I want to tell you, just look at this method with an open eye, because again, I don't have to be doing things the most optimal way. I don't have to be doing things the way everyone else is doing it, right? There's 1,000,001 ways to do the same thing in gardening. We can't be making these blanket statements that apply to every single situation throughout gardening. It just doesn't make sense. We talked about this in our garden myth video of Fruit Talk just pretty recently, and really explaining why myths in general, garden myths and general statements about gardening are just mostly untrue. Yes, there isn't a most optimal way, but today we're going to be doing something. We're going to be planting these guys out. It is the most effortless way of planting potatoes that I know of. So here we go. Got ourselves a potato. We've got ourselves a bed. We've selected out the site. We got full sun. We've given them enough space. This is 3 foot wide. I spaced them out of 1 square foot per potato plant. We're about 6 feet long going down this way. And we've put down a lot of straw, a lot of leaves, just any excess mulch I could find that I had on the property. We put this down. What does this do? Well, this is really going to keep that sunlight from penetrating to the soil. Also, it's going to conserve moisture. Here in my climate, we get 40 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain. But let's say at the end of their cycle here, when these guys are just about done, they need a lot of water. And all that excess water that we've been gathering as this mulch has been sitting here is going to be there at that time of the year. Sometime in July, maybe sometime in August, depending on when these guys are ripe for you. But what we're going to do here is we're actually going to clear away some straw. We're going to get down to the bare earth here. You guys can see that? We're just basically making a nice little bird's nest. And we're gonna stick this potato right there. We're not even gonna dig. And we're just gonna cover this with straw and leaves and mulch. We've got the other one there. We're gonna put this one here, 1 foot away, and we're gonna cover this up. Now, there's not enough mulch here, okay? I'm gonna have to come back. If I can get more mulch throughout the year, of course I will. We're gonna put that mulch on top of these potato plants because I don't want these potato plants getting green, okay? That's really important. Here's another spot, and we're just gonna fill this in. Now, it really does depend on how much mulch you guys got, right? We don't want this blowing away too. But our production's gonna be great, okay? Why is our production gonna be great? Because they're gonna root themselves in the soil, no problem. I'm not gonna have any issues with them rooting themselves in. It's gonna conserve moisture. They're in full sun. You name it, this thing's gonna work out. All right, so this is literally it. And this was not my method, okay? This is not something that I came up with. This has already been done in videos. Hughes Nursery did a nice little video. That kid in England did a nice video on this whole process. And they don't even really root themselves too much in the ground in terms of you have to go digging for these potatoes. They're pretty much all on the surface. So it really is the key though. If I'm running low on straw, other areas of this bed have more straw than others. You can see that down here. We've got at least 5-6 inches of straw right here. And I can put this one in and it's covered, you know, it's plenty covered. But I certainly want to come in here and make sure there's enough straw. All right, I think you guys get the idea here. Maybe I've blabbed on for too long. But anyway guys, there's 1,000,001 ways to do the same thing. Hopefully you guys can join in on me in trying different and new experiments. All right, take care everyone. Talk to you soon.